Patrick. I'm Sophia Soder from the Nerds of Color, and huge congrats on your new series.
Sophia, that is very kind. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today.
Of course. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Of course. And first thing I want to ask you is, obviously this is not your first time developing a series. So how does Dr. Death stand out compared to your other work?
Look, I'm fortunate to be able to do this for a living. And so there's a lot of every single show that I've been lucky to develop has got the bits and pieces of things that are the reason why I was attracted to the story. With Dr. Death, it was, and I'm not trying to, be self-deprecating, nor am I trying to insult the brilliant writers that we had every single day in the writers' room on this show. But this was a story, I've said it before, that it was sort of weirdly ready baked. I mean, the story itself is unusually unusual, and in being unusual, it's compelling as all get out. But then the characters themselves are so unusual, in my opinion, in the true crime space. It's rare that you have a character like Christopher Dunst. It would make you feel so comfortable at home if you could just toss a black hat on him and call it a day and say this guy was just a murderous psychopath. But he wasn't. He was a very complex, compelling, and tragic figure. And then to partner that up with the unlikely heroes of Henderson and Kirby, who are just doctors trying to go about their day, who are trying to figure out for themselves the same thing that we, the audience, are trying to figure out, which is, how is Christopher Dunst who he is, and how did he get away with it? They don't have badges. They don't have guns. They're just innocent everymen, right, who are trying to figure out how to stop this guy on their own. And then partner those two over middle-aged men with the young assistant district attorney in Michelle Shugart, who is intelligent and driven. To watch that play out, we knew from the start, and by we, I mean me and the writers, that we had a phenomenal, little triangle of those three heroes that we could explore. So I am again just so fortunate to have been given the opportunity to tell this story.
Well, I want to give you a little fun, creative question as well. Sure. If you could create either a tagline or a phrase for the series and what's to come from it, what would you pick?
Oh my God, that's really tough. A tagline.
A tagline or a phrase.
Tagline or a phrase. I don't know. Surgery is terrible. I have no idea. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm such a hypochondriac that this was like the worst story that you could give me on that side of things. So I started to, or maybe it's something like try Eastern medicine. I don't know. That might be a good one. But in all seriousness, it's a great question. But in all seriousness, even though I joke about try Eastern medicine, one of the takeaways that I'm hoping that people get from the show in Henderson and Kirby is that, we're surrounded by great doctors every single day, really good people. And that while this was an aberration, that producing this in COVID was particularly compelling because we saw every day these doctors and nurses and healthcare practitioners who were trying to save our lives and who were sacrificing their own to keep us safe. So while, I joke about how horrible this story is on the surgical side, I really, truly hope that audiences at home realize that we've got a lot of heroes every single day who are trying to keep us safe. Definitely. Should have gone with Eastern medicine. That's a good one.
That was a good listen. You did it great.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, approaching this story that's obviously a true story and based on these true events, how does that sort of affect you when, serving as the showrunner and really creating this, you're creating it for screen?
Going back to my first answer about it sort of being a ready-baked story that was so compelling from the jump, it was near impossible. It's near impossible, and it's going to be tough from here on out to find a story that is going to be so compelling to dig into. But I think that the biggest challenge of it in terms of a real life story is that Henderson, Kirby, Shugart, they're all still alive, and they were massive help in us getting this show off the ground. So fearing that we did them a disservice in any way was the biggest challenge. I really hope that we did right by them and that we are paying them the honor that they deserve for what they did, because they really did it alone. And it must have been a horrible journey for them to try to figure out how to stop somebody like this when no one else would.
Definitely. And then my last question for you is obviously this cast, everyone involved in it is so talented. You know, what character were you most excited to see bring to life the words on your script?
Uh, it, because you asked the question, I will answer it. I will answer it. I can tell you that I was so lucky to have each of the actors in every
Yes,
single
yeah.
role. And by the way, even the minor roles. I mean, oftentimes some of the hardest casting are the guest roles and bringing those to life. And every single guest star that we had, without fail, were spectacular actors, and that's a rarity for sure. But if I have to answer the question, if you're going to put me on the spot and get me in trouble with all the actors, then I'll answer, which is that, you know, Randall Kirby was so much fun to write, and not just for me. Every single one of our writers just dug in terms of trying to bring him to life, because he's such a larger than life character in real life. In fact, he came up to New York for Tribeca, and I asked his daughter, did we get him right? And she said, almost. He's far bigger than that in real life. So yeah, I think Kirby was fun to write, and to watch Slater do it. It was, I mean, he killed it every single day.
Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with me. Huge congrats, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.